Hi, this is Mike Farley. We're in Denton, Texas. We're talking about one of the biggest problems with swimming pool pumps, filters, heaters, and plumbing. Water, when it freezes, expands. Therefore, ice breaks all of your pumps, filters, plumbing, and heaters, unless you have some forms of protection to consider. So, with that protection, freeze protection built into the equipment, we have no problems whatsoever. Now, this is how things are handled in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In other parts of the country, other solutions are required, and these would not suffice because some people deal with the winter wonderland all winter long. We just get this usually a couple of times during the year. So the way that we are protected is there is freeze protection built in to the equipment. And what that does is it just turns on your pool and it just runs non-stop as long as the temperature is below 38 degrees. Now in that process, when I say non-stop, that means it keeps coming on and off and on and off. And so a lot of times it'll cycle. It doesn't run continuously, but what it's doing is keeping the water in motion in the plumbing, so therefore the plumbing can't freeze up, the pool equipment can't freeze up, your pool itself can't freeze up. So now there's some things that'll happen. What happens if we get one of our wonderful ice storms and all the power goes out? How do we deal with that? And also, what happens if it freezes for a real long period of time? And last thing to consider is what happens if the pool on the water, the water in the pool, the surface starts to freeze. So let me show you one thing real quick. Okay, so hold on. What you need is a milk jug. Okay, one of the service guys taught me this, and I've never really had a problem. This is just something that they instructed me to do. If the water on the pool started to freeze solid, like one big sheet of ice, like you see on your lakes and ponds in certain parts of the country. Now, the only concern that we're looking at here is if it freezes solid across there, it could push up against the tile as it expands and cause some damage on the tile. Most tile is porcelain tile, therefore it's frost-proof. Okay, unlike dogs, if we throw them in the pool, these love the water, so. Anyway, so if the tile's frost-proof, you're generally not going to have freeze damage just due to freezing. But if you have ice on the surface, what you want to do is throw a dog in, or if you love your dogs and don't want them to freeze into the block of ice, you take the milk jug and you fill it up with a little bit of water so it doesn't float on top of the surface. You want it down in the water a little bit. And as the ice expands, it can crush the jug and it's got something to move against instead of just against your tile. So that's one thing that we do with the... So I need to put water in that and put a cap on it. See, it's floating on the surface. That's what golden retrievers are for, is they retrieve your milk jugs out of the pool. So let me show you a few things on the pool equipment pad, and we'll go from there. This is Mike Farley. I'm in Denton, Texas. We're talking about freeze protection, because when water freezes, it expands, and so we get this lovely white stuff. Or even if we don't have snow and it's just cold, there's a couple of things to think about. Sometimes we get ice, and it's so heavy when we have the ice that power fails because the power lines fall down. We're snarling beasts! Hi, this is Mike. We're in Denton, Texas. We're talking about freezing temperatures of swimming pools. Now, some of the times we have snow, and we get so much snow and ice, power lines come down. So, freeze protection with our pool equipment, how do we fix that? Because we can't run the pumps because there's no electricity, and so everything freezes up. And what do we do? Well, what you have to do is you have to go outside and get cold, because usually that's the point that the power lines fall to the ground. But what you can do is you can come out right here on the pump, except this is a filter. This is a filter plug right here. If you take and open this and drain all the water out of that, and then over here on the pump, you've got the same situation. We're going to have to come around this side. On the plug right here, and the heater has a plug as well. If you take all the plugs out, drain the water out of the system, turn your electricity off to it. Well, actually your power's off, but then it'll come back on at some point in time. So turn the power off, then you can have got your equipment freeze up solid. The other thing is that comes into play sometimes is what happens if we have freezing temperatures, it doesn't go above zero for days. And in the Metroplex in the last 20 years, it's happened once like that. And it's still so cold that the water starts freezing in the filter regardless. What happens then is you get a tarp. Let's get you a tarp. You take the tarp and you actually put it over the top of all the equipment, the pump, the filter, and the heater. And there's enough heat generated beneath the tarp that it'll actually keep things from freezing up. So that's another alternative to consider. That only has to happen when it gets really, really cold for a long period of time. So this is Mike Farley, and I about busted my chops sliding around here. But anyway, be careful when you're outside. Enjoy the snow. Go play with your kids. Build a snowman. But it'll still make the pool work, and it all can be beautiful and not have problems. So have a great day. We'll talk to you when it's warmer. I'm going to go inside and get some s'mores.